Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of NB Bassin. NB Bassin brought to you this morning from the beautiful but raining province of Nova Scotia. On the road again this morning, hitting some highways I actually haven't been on in quite a few years. But this is the same NB Bassin nonetheless, doesn't matter where I'm recording from. Thanks go out to Fish Bomb Outfitters, Southern Yankee Baits, War Dog Lures, and Northern Michigan Outfitters, the companies that have helped me along the way and supported me through this journey. And the most importantly, thanks to my wife and my son. Without them, I really have accomplished nothing. Enough rambling about work and all that sort of stuff, and where I'm at. All that information that really doesn't matter all that much. What you folks are probably a little more interested in hearing about, especially my counterparts and competitors here in New Brunswick, is Saturday's the kickoff to tournament season. It's a pretty big day for us here. I know the lakes opened last Sunday. From what I hear, unfortunately, I was working on trucks and trailers, getting equipment ready for this week. Wasn't able to partake in any pre-fishing for this upcoming tournament because the lakes opened on Sunday and pre-fishing cutoff was midnight or Sunday on Sunday evening. So everybody had one day, and from what I understand, there was somewhere between 25 and 30 boats found their way to Harvey Lake to pre-fish. So that should be a good sign for our numbers that we have coming out this week. There's a lot going on as you get ready. I know my mind hasn't stopped, because as most of you who have ever competed know, a good portion of what we do is actually psychological. We all know to an extent. I mean, obviously everybody's experience and skill level is different, but to an extent, you know, if you've got to the point you're going into tournament fishing, you know how to catch fish. There may be techniques you need to work on. There may be things you need to be stronger on. But for the most part, you know how to catch fish. It comes down to how do you handle the pressure. How do you tell yourself that, oh, it's just another day on the water, when you know there's cash on the line? You know, we all say, oh, it doesn't get to us, it doesn't get to us. I've said it. Guess what? I've lied to myself and every person I've said it to. Jason and I went out last year in the NBSFA Championship. Hammered out our best bag of the year on day one. And then we said, oh, day two, we're just going to relax and go fishing. We're not going to let it get to us. You know, we were sitting in third place going into day two. You know, had a legitimate shot at the championship. We changed bodies of water. And we said, oh, we're just going to go fishing. We're just going to have fun. Man, that couldn't have been further from the truth. We may have had a little fun. Most of the day we spent beating ourselves up because we weren't catching. You know, we weren't getting bites. We were spot hopping way too much. Just everything we said we weren't going to do is exactly what we did do. How do you stop yourself from doing that? I wish I could give you a guaranteed 100% set in stone answer to that, because everybody's different. But you need to find your own focal points. If you have holes for a certain body of water that you're going to fish and you feel like you're under pressure, I don't care if you have to set up a schedule for yourself. If you have to say, we're going to hole A, and we're going to fish it come hell or high water. Whether we're getting bit or not, we're going to spend an hour and a half on hole A. You know, and then we're going to go to hole B, then hole C. You know, if you have to set up a schedule for yourself, stick it to the dash of your boat if you have to. Keep yourself focused. One of the guys I follow on Facebook, and during the Bass Elite series, I love seeing the posts that he puts up, is the G-Man, Gerald Swindle. I love seeing the sandwich bag notes that he gets. It keeps a man honest. When you get a reminder like that from a loved one, just little words of encouragement and notes and little stuff like that. I don't care if your wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, significant other doesn't want to get up and make you a lunch because you're not fishing for a $125,000 check. Whatever. I don't care if you got to write them yourself. But when you reach in that cooler for that sandwich, that note, even if you've written it yourself, is a reminder as to why you're out there. Little stuff like that to help you deal with that pressure. You know, for me, one of the things, it's not like we're fishing for a living. You know, for the majority of the people I'm speaking to, we're fishing for fun, and, you know, with any luck at all, a little bit of money will come our way. But one of the things for me, and I'm lucky, I don't have to write a note on a sandwich bag. One of the things that keeps me focused is my son and the fact that he's taken a love for the sport. Well, I happen to have his name tattooed on my right forearm. So as long as I'm wearing short sleeves, every time I look down, I see his name. That little reminder of family, little reminder of why we truly do the things we do. Excuse me. All this stuff, as insignificant as it may seem to somebody else, it's no different than any sport. Rituals, little superstitions. We all make, that doesn't come into play. I know guys who will, some of them hesitantly admit that they throw the exact same lure on the first cast of every tournament. It focuses them. Even if they know that it's not a lure that's ever been successful on the body of water that they're on, they'll have it tied on, they'll pick it up, they'll cast it out, they'll wind it back, they'll put it down. It's a ritual, it's a routine. You know, how you organize your boat, ritual, routine. It's all part of dealing with pressure. Because if we were just going out fun fishing, it wouldn't matter. Yeah, I forgot to rig my rods last night. I can rig them when I'm out on the water. You know, no big deal, because I have all the time in the world. But when you think you're fishing against the clock, even if it's 7, 8 o'clock in the morning and you've got, 8 hours to go, it's still, you still have in the back of your mind, I'm fishing against the clock. So it gets a little overwhelming, even early in the day. If you're an hour in and you haven't got so much as a nibble, it's very overwhelming, because then you start into this panic mode. And it's something that everybody has done at one point or another. You hit a body of water that every time I'm here, I hammer them. And then all of a sudden, no bites. Panic mode. Panic mode is the worst possible thing you could do. It's not going to help you at all. It's not going to accomplish anything. And it's going to take the fun out of it. So, avoid panic mode at all costs. If you're new to this, and I know we've got some new teams joining the NDSFA this year, I've had the pleasure of speaking with a number of you. I can quite honestly say that I'm thrilled that I have been involved in helping some of you make your decision to join, giving you advice, getting you ready for your first event. That alone, and the fact that I know some of you listen to this broadcast on a daily basis, or not a daily basis, but a weekly basis. Eddie, Brian, you guys, I've talked to you guys quite a bit. The fact that I've been able to help you makes everything I've done worthwhile. As I've said for the last couple episodes, and I don't know why this little phrase came out of my mouth, and I don't know why it's stuck in my head the way it has, but grow the sport, not your ego. I think that's going to be my new slogan, because that's going to be my focus, is growing the sport of competitive bass fishing. And the fact that I've been able to help these guys, I don't care. I know there's guys coming out to their first NBSFA tournament this year. this Saturday. Excuse me. I don't know what's getting into me this morning. But I know these guys are coming out to their first NBSFA tournament on Saturday. Guess what? Do I want to get beat? No. But if they happen to kick my tail up and down the lake, I'll be the first one off when we come off the water to shake their hand. Because it's not about me. Yes, I mean, I have my own goals, I have my own objectives. I'm not going to sit back and tell you that I'm not competitive, because I am. But at the same time, the sport is bigger than just me. So, especially in a market like ours here in New Brunswick, I want to do what I can to foster growth in this sport. So, yeah, I want to go out there on Saturday and I want to put 5 big ones in the boat, and I want to come to the scale and see my name go to the top of or see mine and Jason's name go to the top of the leaderboard. But if it doesn't happen, if I can go to these individuals that I've talked to over the last little while about preparing for their first tournament season, if I can go to them and they can say they've enjoyed their day, catching fish or not, if they can say they've enjoyed their day and that they're coming back, mission accomplished. So I guess I kind of went off on a tangent there, away from what I was talking about, which was dealing with pressure. And what that comes down to is focus. Find your own personal distractions. Find the things that are going to make you focus. As that happens, as those things develop, and like I said, it will take time. It will take a certain number of mistakes. You will shoot yourself in the foot on more than one occasion. You will be self-destructive. It happens. It happens to all of us. There's nothing you can do about it. But just learn from it. Don't get mad at yourself. I mean, you'll be mad at yourself at the time. But learn from it. That's the most important thing, is to learn from it. And then, then you'll be all right. As long as you're learning, you will be all right. If you're not learning, then there's a problem. So, anyways, moving on to my next subject. This is probably going to be a little shorter episode this week, but that is what it is. I've got a slightly different work environment than normal, so I'm just trying to squeeze everything in as quickly as I can. Preparing for that tournament, preparing for Saturday. For those of you who are new to this in particular, maybe those of you who have been doing it for a while and are always kicking yourself in the foot saying, what am I doing wrong? And I'm not going to tell you that everything I'm going to say is exactly right, because I mean, once again, it comes down to personal preference. But what can you have done? What should you have done prior to Saturday? Number one, paperwork. If you have not pre-registered for an event, if you are registering the morning of, make sure, and most events have the option to go online somewhere and print off a registration form. Have it done. Have it filled out. Save yourself the time. If you have that paperwork filled out, you walk up to check-in. Here's the entry form. Here's my money. Whoever's conducting the check-in, quick glance. Yep. Have all the information we need. Here's your takeoff number. Have a good day. In and out in a matter of seconds. If you have to go and fill out your paperwork, then it's just time. And that's what, things get hectic at a boat ramp. So it's all about time. Another thing to save yourself time, rig your rods the night before. I know some guys are paranoid. Well, I don't want guys standing around at the launch to see what I've got tied on. Leave your rods in the rod locker until you've actually pushed off ashore. Or invest in some rig wraps. Invest in some, I've got a couple different products, but, rod glove, bait gloves are a great product. Get something